Recorded Books presents Chasing Catastrophe, my 35 years covering wars, hurricanes, terror attacks, and other breaking news, by Rick Leventhal, narrated by the author. To my wife, Kelly, I couldn't have written this book without your love, encouragement, and support. You've been with me every step of the way, feeding me, inspiring me, listening to my stories, suggesting edits, pushing me to keep at it, handling everything I couldn't handle while I was filling these pages with my words. You have changed my life for the better in more ways than I can count, and I will always cherish every minute we share together. Chapter 1, 9/11. Large pieces of flaky dust were drifting from the sky like some kind of strange summer snowstorm in downtown Manhattan. Ashes slowly gliding down from the blazing towers, collecting on Church Street and covering everything on the ground. People, fire trucks, pieces of one of the jet engines lying across from me and our Fox News satellite engineer at the corner of Church and Warren, yellow caution tape already wrapped around the ripped metal and large gear on the pavement. I saw what appeared to be federal agents taking photos of the plane parts, which were buried in the same layer blanketing everything else, a puffy gray powder that I could best describe as moon dust. The entire downtown area below Canal Street had become a massive crime scene, and we were standing right in the middle of it. It was eerily quiet, except when it wasn't. The silence would be broken by the sirens of ambulances, police cars, and fire trucks rolling past. Then it was just the breeze and the plaintive cries of stunned survivors walking out of the smoky cloud like zombies, with chalk-covered faces and unrecognizable expressions, a mix of shock, confusion, and absolute horror. And then 1 minute before 10 a.m. on that beautiful, crystal-clear September morning, we all heard the rumble of the first towers starting to fall. I was with engineer Pat Butler, who'd parked the Fox News Channel satellite truck on Church Street near the corner of Warren, just 5 blocks north of Ground Zero, roughly 1,200 feet from the heart of the World Trade Center. The producer and cameraman hadn't made it to our location yet, so Pat pulled some cables from the back of the vehicle and plugged in the truck camera and a stick microphone. He'd already dialed in our shot, but we'd lost communication with the studio. Cell phones weren't working, but as it turned out, our picture was live, and we were recording all of it in the truck. I grabbed the mic and he grabbed the camera, and I started narrating the scene with no idea if the network was putting us on the air live, and just as I started describing what was happening around me, the first skyscraper started to crumble. We heard what sounded like a freight train struggling on gravel-covered tracks, or a giant bucket dumping chunks of rock and sand from hundreds of feet in the air as each floor of the South Tower pancaked onto the next, and the entire 110-story skyscraper became a massive pile of broken rock, twisted steel, tangled staircases, and victims' bodies. Close to 3,000 lost souls were crushed and burned in the impact and explosion of the jet, the fires that followed, or the fall of the building itself, not to mention the jumpers who leapt to their deaths from above the impact zone rather than suffer an unimaginably horrible alternative. Pat and I couldn't actually see the first tower fall because of all the other buildings blocking our line of sight, but after the collapse we saw a huge dust cloud at least 200 feet high rolling north up Church Street right toward us. Everything that happened next is recorded on tape. I yelled at Pat to zoom in on the chaos behind me and started reporting again. There's been a huge explosion. Everyone is running in the other direction. We're on Church Street. We're not sure what happened. Someone in the background yells in horror, "It fell down!" There's been a huge explosion, I continued. Everyone's running for their lives, literally. Police, media. I see a woman pushing a baby carriage. Here comes the smoke. Here comes the smoke. It's unclear what happened, if the tower collapsed or what. Then I looked at Pat and said, "I think we better get out of this mess, dude. I think we better get out of this." We ran to the truck, dropped the gear, and jumped inside to escape the cloud, unsure of what exactly had just happened and completely unnerved about what might come next. The video goes to black as the camera is enveloped, but you can hear our entire conversation. Pat is coughing uncontrollably, choking on the smoke he inhaled outside. "Oh my God, Pat, close that door, dude. Oh my God, we might fucking die here together, you and me. You all right?" Pat is still gagging and coughing. "Where's Jonathan?" I ask, about the producer who's supposed to meet us to help with our live shots. Then I look out the small window in the back of the truck. Holy shit, we can't see a fucking thing. Look at that. Oh my God.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.